Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Truth Podcast. My guest today is Cindy Hyde, and she is a serial entrepreneur who loves poodles. We'll hopefully get into that because that sounds interesting. She is serious about making an impact on the lives of others through coaching and mentoring. She has written 15 books, several eBooks, and is published internationally. And she lives in some place in Texas that I'm sure she's going to pronounce for me.
Nacogdoches, Texas.
Shoo.
Mm-hmm.
That's like two mouthfuls. That's a lot.
It is. It took me forever to learn how to spell it.
Oh, I bet. I can't even say it, let alone spell it. So I'm not even going to try or attempt that. But what was the little story behind that? And I was going to ask you, the first thing I usually ask people is different, but the first thing I'm going to ask you is, what is the story behind whatever that name is, Texas?
Yes. Well, there was an Indian chief and he had two sons, and the tribe was not big enough for three chiefs. And so he sent one to the east and one to the west. And he said, you walk until the sun goes down, and that's where you establish your tribe. And they did. And one brother was named Nacogdoches, and he ended up in Texas. And then the other one is Nacogdoches, and he ended up in Louisiana.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And so they named those towns are still named that to this day.
Yes. And
boy, that's something.
Mm-hmm. And Nacogdoches is actually the oldest town in Texas.
The oldest town in Texas.
Lots of rich history here.
It is. It really is. It's such a big, I said country almost, because that's almost what it is. It dwarfs like some of the countries in the world. Everybody seems to always compare that too. It compares to Texas. Like, oh, that country's like almost the size, could fit into Texas or something like that.
Yeah, it's a big old state, that's for sure.
Go big or go home.
I just read an article the other day that the Texas accent was now voted the sexiest in the nation.
Well, that sucks because I'm in Michigan. There is no access and accent. Sorry. Yeah, it's just like the land. It's long, flat, and goes on forever.
Well,
but anyway, so, oh, wow. So I'm going to ask you the first question. First question I usually ask people is this, and this is going to be the second question. So my questions are all messed up. That's all right. What lit the fire for you to want to become an entrepreneur in the first place?
I think it was when I was living at home with my mother. I was in my 20s, and we were going to the grocery store, and I looked at her and I said, there has got to be more to life than going to the grocery store once a week. There's just got to be more. So I always knew there was more, and I always looked for more, but it wasn't until my mid-30s that I actually started finding what that more was for me. We all have our own journey that we have to take. And for me, that journey began as a paramedic and me injuring my spine and not being able to work anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was my big, everybody has some kind of turning point in their life. It may not always be that tragic or that traumatic, but that was mine. And it was a wake-up call. It's like, okay, now what? Now what are you going to do with yourself?
And so yours was kind of out of a situation where you had to.
Mm-hmm. I had to redesign myself. The medical profession wasn't an option anymore. In fact, anything that had anything to do that I needed my back for was not an option anymore.
That's tough. That's tough. I know that feeling because of things that I've been through as well. Oh, that's something. So you turned from being a caregiver, right? Was that what you were doing?
Mm-hmm. Being a paramedic, in the emergency field, yes.
Still helping people out that were injured, and you go in currently to helping people out.
Yes, just in a different way. Mm-hmm.
Does seem like a theme here.
Yes, ongoing theme. Everything I do is all about helping people. In fact, I just started a blog I wanted something unique and something that would be an umbrella for all of my eclectic writings. And so I thought, okay, so in the Myers-Briggs personality test, I'm an ENFJ, which, counselors, teachers, coaches, all of that. And I'm all of those. But I also have ADHD, which just like compounds the challenge. So my blog and my website is called an ENFJ with ADHD .blog.
Holy Moses. That's way too many acronyms for me.
Yes, but anybody that's an ENFJ can relate, and anybody that has ADHD can also relate to.
Well, the ADHD I can relate, but the other thing, I don't know what that is. Can you explain that for people?
Well, it means I'm extroverted and intuitive and feeling and judging. That's what the ENFJ stands for.
Okay.
So it means that it is in my nature to help people.
Yeah, I can see that.
So all throughout my life, even way before I knew what an ENFJ was, that was my life's goal, is to figure out ways to help people.
Yeah, if you want to get, that you could be the CEO of the other long acronym, and then I was going to try to say the whole thing, but I lost the end something, whatever. I've never heard of that. I'll be honest, I've never heard of that.
Well, if somebody's trying to figure out who they are and what they're good at, and their particular careers that their personalities are suited for, there's all kinds of free personality tests. Just make sure it's the Myers-Briggs ones with the 16 different personality types.
Okay.
And it's really an eye-opener, and if you've not ever taken one before, it helps you see things about yourself that you've known but maybe not ever have put into words.
Yeah. Or validated things that you
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah. Especially when it comes to careers and maybe even relationships.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you the giver, or are you the taker? Are you the guardian? Are you the counselor? Are you the, I forget what all of them are now. It's been a while, but
I used a slightly different method. I just kept failing until I figured out what I wanted to do.
Hey, that always works too.
No, I think it's a journey for all of us. I don't think we ever kind of arrive at a destination. There's always a new challenge. There's always things we want to do and accomplish. I think that the entrepreneurial journey is a reflective journey. We continually grow on the outside, so our business grows. It's a mirror to who we are on the inside. So with each struggle, each passing thing that goes on with us, we tend to overcome that, and then our business grows. It's right in line with like the self-help and all that type of thing.
Absolutely.
And coaching and stuff like that. We all need somebody to see something in us that we don't see for ourselves.
And to pull on it.
Yep.
And to add that encouragement, and that, for some of us, it just comes natural. We're natural encouragers and natural, people builders. And
yeah, we are. Yeah. Some of us have it naturally. And you can tell those people, the people that want to give and help. And I've been fortunate to have a ton of those people on my show. I would say 98%, I swear, are just the best people. I mean, just really good, down-to-earth, real people,
So you predominantly interview entrepreneurs. So
Yes.
What does that say about us as entrepreneurs?
And I've said this too. I think there was two classes of entrepreneurs at least when I was growing up, there was like one class, and they were kind of not so nice, greedy, kind of stepping on people, thinking competition rather than collaboration. The new entrepreneurs that are kind of cropping up nowadays, or within the last 5 years, maybe a little longer, are really heart-led, heart-centered entrepreneurs. that really do want to help people with what they do and not just take people's money and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I
think that
do.
I think entrepreneurs get a bad name. I just interviewed somebody who said it was kind of like a car salesman. You know, that sometimes that because of some of the people that have been not as genuine in our field, we'll put it that way,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we get a bad rap. Kind of like the car salesman thing. You know, there's probably good people that are car salesmen, correct? Yeah,
Absolutely.
but
Absolutely.
we use that term, car salesman, to paint a picture of a person that we don't want to deal
Yes,
with.
right. Kind of pushy, a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
of a
exactly.
con, tell you what you want
Exactly.
to hear.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we're trying to um, avoid, erase that image, you know, and replace it with the new one
Mm-hmm.
right now. So you've told me a little bit about some of the struggles that you've been through. What things internally were like roadblocks or obstacles to your growth on your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh my goodness. There, which ones can you think of not to name? I mean, there were
You
so
could name
many.
as many as you would like.
Oh, we could be here all day. We could spend the whole hour just talking about the roadblocks or the obstacles in your life. You know, when you have a trauma like that in your life, it leaves you wounded. And, you know, the old saying, when you flat on your back, or you have nowhere to look but up. And literally, I was flat on my back. And it's like, okay, what now?
Mm,
Depression, you know, grief from the loss of a career that you absolutely loved. Um, you know, the deferred hope that makes your heart sick, you know, when you have all these hopes and plans. I was going to go and go to Baylor University and get my physician's assistant and, like, you know, be all this, and then just no, can't do any of that. So having to regroup, having to redefine yourself in the midst of, you know, the depression and the pain and the hurt and the grief and the everything else that goes with that. It was hard. It was not easy, but
no,
it was
it's
not
not easy.
impossible. It was not impossible.
That's good. Did you have help along the way?
Um,
Or did you
probably,
kind of do it on your own?
you know, entrepreneurs are kind of self-made. So I didn't go to counselors. I didn't have, you know, I had a couple of friends, but no, I think I pretty much had to get a grip on my own. You know, it was like an internal struggle um, that I kind of internalized. I didn't
That
talk
makes
to a lot
sense.
of people about that.
Right.
It was just really painful, and there
Yeah.
weren't a lot around that could understand the depth of loss when you have a career that you love and then it's just yanked out from under you.
Yep, I absolutely know the feeling.
Mm-hmm. But even then, even as a paramedic, I was an artist, and, you know, sold my paintings and all that stuff even then. So, you know, that entrepreneurial spirit. My mother and I did crafts and went to craft shows and, you know, the big stuff all the time. So, you know, being an entrepreneur, being that artistic type of person, I think helped me be able to um, get a grip and realize that there was always something else that I could do, that it wasn't the end of my life. It was the end of my career, you know, that I absolutely loved and enjoyed and thrived, you know, on the adrenaline. Yes, I was an adrenaline junkie. You pretty much have to be in that kind of emergency, you know, firemen, cops, and paramedics. So even then, that entrepreneurial spirit was alive and kicking. I just didn't really consider myself an entrepreneur because it was just something I enjoyed doing and did.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, I know. It seems like when you just do something like the podcast I did for the Lions was basically just for fun, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We got a little more serious about it in the middle of it, and because it was going really well. Thing is, it's like it was just something I did. It was it wasn't even a side hustle because I wasn't making anything with it, so it's just kind of a hobby. But I enjoyed it, and so then it translated into this. But I've always liked to do things and create and be a creator, so I think that that's something that um,
Mm-hmm.
has always been something in me that to want to do.
Do you
So
find that's common with entrepreneurs, the
yes,
creative part that we want to
yes,
add to, or enhance, or make it prettier, make it better, or
yeah. I think it is. I
yeah.
think it's in all of us, maybe in different ways, because some of
Mm-hmm.
us take our specializations from like the corporate world, and then we'll translate that into a business,
Mm-hmm.
or we'll take
Mm-hmm.
our knowledge from a certain topic or something, we'll turn that into a business, or
Mm-hmm.
something skill wise that we're good at, like photography or something like that, and turn it
Mm-hmm.
into something bigger. But I think it is something always that we want to create more and do more and not be the everyday person,
You're
if that
right.
makes sense.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that, but I'm just the people that I interview and the people that I have seen just want to stand out. They want to step up. They want to do different things. They want to, and there's a term, maybe overused term, like crush it. They want to, they do.
They want to crush it. I like the
Crush it.
term side hustle too that you used just a minute ago. I like
Yeah.
that too. It's my side hustle.
Yeah, we use that a lot too. We have our own language, I think. I see you said you authored 15 books.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of genres are those? I mean, what are the different types of books that you read?
Well, nonfiction,
All nonfiction.
all
So
nonfiction.
you didn't write any self-help. Okay. All right.
Uh, yes, self help, but nonfiction, meaning I've not done novels
Any
or
right, right,
fantasy
right,
ones,
right,
or
right.
I think this November I'm going to actually try to do that. November is National Month of Writing a Novel, National Novel Writing Month, or something like that. And I think I'm really going to try to get my mind wrapped around doing, and he said, and she said, and they did. But all of my books are nonfiction. And every one of them are designed to help people.
Okay, so they're all self-help. That's what I kind of thought, and I think I got the terminology wrong, so that's okay. I got busted.
Yeah.
I did that.
Um, the first one not the first one that I had written, but the first one that I got, that I self-published was the Making Peace with Your Past, One Choice at a Time. And I did it for Christian Women's Job Corps, which is a um, jobs training nonprofit through the Women's Missionary Union for Baptist churches.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been teaching it for 8 years, and it has really, really impacted lives.
They had a Job Corps up here as well. We used to work with them when I was in the Welfare to Work program up here.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful
Yeah,
program.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is. It is tough on those kids, and sometimes they need that. They need the
Mm-hmm.
discipline.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really hard time with that. I know some people that went there and had a good experience. So it is a very good place. I've had some people that have had some not so good experiences because they didn't want to change. But I guess we have
So,
that.
yeah. Um, the book that I'm the proudest of, though, um, I wrote the, Making Peace with Your Past class, and then I wrote a couple of other ones. And I thought, having ADD, it's like I had to almost reinvent the wheel and relearn things that I had forgotten for the next book that I was doing. So I thought, okay. So I got motivated, and in 3 weeks, I put together a workbook for writers. It's called a Workbook for Writers Who Want to Become Authors or Authorpreneurs.
Ooh, I
So
like
learn
that
how
term.
to organize and storyboard and edit, how to write it, how to format it. self-publish it, market, sell it, everything you need to know about becoming an author, and seeing that book in print and having it in your hands, which is an incredible feeling, by the way, for anybody who's thinking about becoming an author. That's a writer who wants to see their books in print. It's an amazing feeling. So that workbook is like my baby. It's a huge workbook. It's a college level class, is what it is. And I've taught it several times doing the masterclass workshops and things. And I love being able to, it's just another way to help people, because the more stories we get out there, the more people are helped.
That's awesome. That's part of the theme here. It says that my whole tagline is "What's your story?" I don't go into that as much as I don't go into that as much as I should, because it's not only the story of the entrepreneur and the story of, what's your background and all this stuff. What is the story you tell yourself about yourself?
Oh, that's powerful.
What's the story, and how? And is it a positive one or negative one? Is it one we need to change? What do we say about ourselves all the time?
Right. I lived with that negative story for most of my life. Mm-hmm. When I was a teenager, and things that are said to you when you're in those formative years tend to be magnified, and they tend to stick with you for a lifetime. Like my dad said one time, I'm not going to use the same curse word in the middle of it that he did, but he said, I don't give a, blah, blah, what you think. I don't want to hear what you have to say. Well, in my little teenage mind, it shut me down, just shut me down. Well, looking back at 16 years old, what did I accomplish with my life? Everything that I do is about communication, the counseling, the coaching, everything, the writing, everything is about me telling somebody something.
Yeah.
So it was like, the world's, it can be harsh, but I still hear that record. But now, instead of entertaining that voice in my head, whatever, this is not true. Mm-hmm. So we've all believed lies and sometimes continue to believe them. But there is a stop button on that tape recorder. Yep. There's a stop button. Yep. You can stop believing the lies and start believing the truth. I'm a communicator, period.
See, I hadn't noticed that, and that's my fault. No, I'm just kidding.
People do want to hear what we have to say. Our stories are unique.
And that's the thing. Everybody's been through so much and different things, and people I interview on here, they'll resonate with one or the other, or maybe multiple people that I've had on. Mm-hmm. And it's like a goal in some ways is, hey, that's me. And I can get through, if she can get through, or I can get through, if that weird guy doing the show can do this. Anybody really can. And it pretty much is the truth.
It is true, isn't it? It is true.
It is. It is. And not take when I say that type of thing, I'm just like, I don't mean it. I'm just having some fun and stuff about myself. I know I do a pretty good job of what I do, so it's cool.
You do, and I love your voice, just so you know.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's, I used to do just audio. So this video thing is kind of a change for me. So.
That's kind of an out of the box one.
Yeah. I'm trying to get back in the box because everyone else is outside the box. So now it's crowded and I got to find another place to go.
Yeah. The box is filled up, huh?
Well, the outside of it is because everybody's thinking outside the box. I don't know if they're still actually in the box or just thinking about outside. Anyway, that's just weird, but funny.
Well, I like having the audio and the visual together. Podcasts, you can listen to those when you're driving down the road and doing dishes or, cooking dinner or whatever you're doing.
Yep.
And, videos just add a little more dimension to it. You can see the
more depth.
Facial expressions, and you can just kind of interact and feel like you're talking to the person and with the person, like you're part of the conversation absolutely. Instead of just
I mean, I
people
made
in your
it
ear.
I made it so that we can do an audio podcast as well, so that people that do want it on the go, or they want it on the treadmill, or they want to listen to the stories and different things,
Right.
and, in the car, we are on Spotify and Google Play for that type of thing, and YouTube channel for the people who want to watch and see. So I think it's nice to have both dynamics for it. And
I think that's great.
In blog writing, you have the written word, but you don't have the inflection or the voice. So you can't tell. You can kind of tell or imagine what people are saying, but then it's like, okay, I don't know. I don't know, how they would sound. So then you have audio podcasts, and they're like, wow, that's cool. I love how it sounds, just like radio. But then you add the face to it, and now you have facial expressions. Just every layer adds a new depth.
It absolutely does. So are you taking your blogs and making videos out of them?
No. I got too many videos to mess with to do any blogs.
I said that backwards. What I was asking is, are you taking these programs and turning them into blogs or transcripts so people that
it's easy.
that reader thing?
It's not really that hard. I have a program that actually takes the YouTube thing. Thanks to Mark Kumar. He's the one that came up with it. So I can't take credit for it. I didn't do it. But it takes out the video, the audio, and the keywords, and the transcript. So it's a rough transcript. It's really rough. I mean, you have to fix it, but it pulls right from the YouTube video.
That's amazing. Yeah. So are you doing that?
No, because I don't have enough time to do that.
Well, there's always virtual assistants that can help you with projects like that.
I did that for a little while.
Did you?
But I don't have a website right now.
Virtual assistants build those too.
Yeah, I know. I just got to get out of doing what I'm doing. I know that. It's going to take some time for me, I think. Well, but I will.
One of the ways that us entrepreneurs can get ourselves out there even more is to stack our content. Yes. And I can take one piece of content, like your video right now, and create 13 different pieces of content for it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. 13. That's pretty specific.
13, very specific. 13 pieces of content from your one video.
So what would the 13 be? I'm curious. You had a
and
number.
You're going to have to make me name them all.
No, you don't have to. It's kind of on the spot. But I mean, if you could, that'd be really cool.
Absolutely. Number one is you're doing the video. Well, you also have the audio. That would be number 2. Yep. The transcript would be number 3. Number 4 would be to, do the show, not show notes, but to make a blog out of the transcript. Not to where it's just conversational, but where the information is.
Right.
And then, of course, you do the graphics for each of these, because YouTube graphics are different than Pinterest graphics and blog graphics. And so you create all the different graphics that go with those, especially the Pinterest ones, because Pinterest is a search engine, not a social platform.
Just started that today.
Good for you. If you need any help, holler.
I just might, to be honest.
But Pinterest, you design the pins, and we've all seen them. And if you haven't, go to Pinterest, because it's amazing. I have 14,000, 54,000. I don't know how many people that do my board, because I've got so many pins on there and so many different categories. It's Cindy_Hyde, HYDE. And then when you do that, then people will click on that blog or that video. And so you do a different pin graphic for each of the content that you have. And then you just keep going. You take quotes out of what you've done, several of those, and that's your social media, content that you put on LinkedIn, and you share the links to all of those. And
it's a lot. I don't do half of that. I don't do half of that. I should, but I don't.
Well,
just being honest.
if if you want to really get out there and you really want your message to be heard, or you really want, your service to be able to reach the people that need it the most, then we have to get out there. And it's not just about, putting a couple of things on Facebook and thinking, oh, well, that's good enough, because Facebook is only one teeny part of the whole picture.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what the main ones are? Talking about social media, Instagram and Pinterest. And if you're
Instagram, I have such a hard
professional,
time with. I'll be honest.
well,
Instagram, I have a difficult time with because I can't have links. I can't have it. There's just so much restriction there, and
well,
at least in my mind,
put the link in your bio.
yeah, I have done that. But it's like to each show, it's difficult to to do that because it doesn't really. I don't know. It doesn't really serve me as well as it does other people, I guess.
There's some solutions to that, and I'm becoming an Instagram pro, so maybe we need to have a discussion about that later too. I will.
Sounds good. Okay, so
let's give you some pointers.
I need all the pointers I can get. But let's go into specifically what you do for your clients and what are you into right now?
Oh, well, we're talking about it. You heard the excitement. It's like, yes, and virtual assistants can help you with that too. Because of my spinal injury, I'm limited physically. Of course, I'm not like going to go to work and stand on my feet 10 hours a day or even 2. So I have went to school to get all these degrees and still could not find a job. I wanted to be an online instructor, an adjunct facilitator at one of the online colleges. Well, that for some reason just has not panned out, and so it's been several years, and we're going through a life change where we're going to semi-retire. We're 60 now, and we want to retire before 65 or 67 is the new retirement age. I promise I'm getting to the story. So I found out about this thing called virtual assistants, and I thought, well, that sounds like something that I could definitely offer people, because I've got all these skills from life and learning to do things on my own, and getting the degrees, the web design, all of that with the graphics, and then I run a nonprofit, and having to learn how to do the newsletters and all the graphics and all the things, the desktop publishing and all the websites and everything that goes with it. And so when I started looking into what all the virtual assistant offers, I started niching down what it is that I specialize in. And one of them is social media marketing.
Well, now we can see that.
Yes, social media marketing. And I have an agency. It's Hyde VA agency. And I have people from Philippines and from India. Is my favorite place because I love their accent and their culture. But I have a right-hand person, that's just, I couldn't do what I do without her at this point. So she was willing to work with me so I could mentor her. So back to your question, I have a virtual assistant agency, and we help people. I've started so many small businesses, and so has my husband, and I've helped people start their own businesses, this business startup, and to help start nonprofits, because I've done that, and get their 501s. But, you get it all started, and then you start running your business, and then you find yourself all entangled in the mundane activities, the bookkeeping, the scheduling, the email management, and just all of those things, travel arrangements, and, event coordination, and all of those things that go with it, that you get so bogged down in those that you're not being the creative entrepreneur that you started out with. Now you're a business manager. So we offer online business management for people to free you up.
I asked the question in my group, and I asked them, What do you think the number one thing is that you are struggling with right now? I was really surprised by the answer. But the answer was time.
Exactly. Exactly. As business owners, time, you're spending so much of your time not just trying to do the creative process, but also the management process. If you have a business that has employees, well, what are you doing? You're dealing with employee drama and payroll taxes and, them showing up late or calling in or not calling in and not showing up. And, you know, a virtual assistant is somebody who specializes in the skill that you need. And if you're paying somebody to sit in your office for 8 hours a day, they're not working 8 hours a day.
No,
You
no
know, they're
way.
not working the 8 hours a day, but yet you're still paying them. And then you have to have, the unemployment insurance, and you have to have, all of these things, sick leave and everything to go along with all of the employees. But office expense, what if you could run your business and not have to have the expense of an office and all the furniture and all the electric bills? And what if you could be free to be everything that you want to be and do everything you want to do and still have your business running online, which is where most businesses are now.
Yes, that's true. The brick and mortar businesses are going to go the way of the dinosaur, at least most of them, at least the mom and pops will.
Yeah. Except for maybe
It's not,
Walmart.
yeah, like I said, the mom and pops and stuff, and even
And
Walmart is
grocery
getting into.
stores.
Well, Walmart's even getting into delivery, and I think
We use it all the time.
there's a day and time that Walmart will turn to being just a distributor.
I can so see that.
It may take a long time. I'm not going to say it's immediate, but I can see it in the
Yeah.
future. It really can. I can see them being a warehouse, and then you just select what you want. Somebody ships it to you. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
Or we just get the replicators from Star Trek, and everybody doesn't have to do anything anymore.
Yes, and the little Jetson cars, the little Jetson mobiles.
Yeah, that too.
That's probably before some people's time.
Not mine. Oh, George was amazing.
Yes, I used to enjoy that show.
The little cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now if you could, I did say that the number one thing that everybody had said, including myself, was time. And I think that we get bogged down in doing so many different activities and wearing so many different hats that it gets difficult for us. I don't think it's something that we have to do, but I think it's something that because we just think that we can do it better than anybody else. I know that most entrepreneurs, to be honest, that we're going to save money and we'll do it better anyway, and that's not the truth. That is not the truth. Honestly, there's trained people that do things that are more artistic. They draw better stick figures than I do, even. It's just
exactly. I just read a story last night about a woman who paid somebody $11 an hour to fix some kind of technical problem that she had, and she ended up paying them $77, and they still didn't get it fixed, and said, well, we're going to stop and we'll fix it on Monday. Well, she needed it then. So there was also someone who wanted the job and they charged $60 an hour. So she called them and they fixed it within 15 minutes.
Wow.
So, the whole you pay for what you get. Sometimes if you buy the lower, lower priced services, you're going to get what you pay for.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And it's like you got to realize that some of these people are more skilled than we are. Just gotta reach deep down inside and admit it,
and trust that they know what they're talking about. Yeah,
and that's trust is such a hard thing. I think that's the number one thing that we run into. At least I do with a lot of people. It's like, trust. Like, okay, do I trust send $77 to somebody I don't know to fix this problem, and then they don't fix the problem, then I'm still out more money. You go through those experiences, and I think that's what makes people gun shy a little bit about that type of a thing. What would you tell somebody like that that's been, been burnt before, I mean, that type of thing. What do you tell them?
One of the things that I do, well, first of all, sending and receiving money online is so common now that it's very secure and very safe.
Hmm.
PayPal even offers a refund policy. If you purchase something and it doesn't, you can get your money back. So what I do sometimes is give them samples of the work. I've got a
Oh, okay.
portfolio, and they can kind of see my style and, see the things that, some of the things that I've created, from websites to, branding boards to social media graphics, whatever it is. They can see what
Right.
they're getting firsthand so that they can trust that. If it's something that they want that's writing, then, say they want a blog that's for their, want to hire somebody to do podcast outlines for them and do all the research and get all the facts and stuff like that. Well, I would do one and send it to them as a sample, and then if they wanted to move forward with that, then they've got that trust factor built in, because I
That's
have
really good.
provided value,
Yeah.
upfront
Yep.
value to prove that I'm who I
And
am
then
and
and then
that I can
also
do.
it's like seeing if that person's a fit, because you have your certain style. I know I have a certain style, and everyone has their own, thing, and
Right.
you want it to be kind of in your, some of the stuff, if you have it written for you or something like that, you want it in your own verbiage, or you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, that type of a
Mm-hmm.
thing, to make it authentic to you.
Well,
Um,
um, that's where doing, like, if you want a blog written, get the virtual assistant to do the research and do the outlines and leave the references. So if you want more information about whatever, that works really well for podcast. I do one I have one client that I'm doing podcast outlines, and her content marketing stuff for her, and I listen to her podcast to learn what her voice is, so that I
right.
can, do more of what her voice is. But she likes it when I do the outline, so that she can put her own personality in it.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you could do bullet points or something, and someone could go and
Mm-hmm.
read that, or do it,
Yeah.
or memorize what they want to
Mm-hmm.
do, or put it into sections, or,
Mm-hmm.
segments,
Use
I guess we
part
would
of it,
call
make
it.
another. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how can people get a hold of you if they want to free their time up, and they want a good agency and people that can really help you to save time? How do they get a hold of you?
Cindy Hyde VA .agency.
Dot agents, but that's tough.
Isn't
We're
that
gonna
cool?
we're gonna have to put that. We're gonna put it in the notes below,
Cindy
so that all
Hyde.
you have to do is click the link and go there. And God forbid if you have to copy and paste. I know it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. It really is.
And also, if you can't remember that, it's just cindyhyde.com. That's my everything page, my media page, my ministry page, and all my blogs are there, podcasts are there, so.
So
Uh,
it's Hyde, Hyde.
mhm.
Okay, just
Yes,
making
sir.
sure. But we will have some of those links down and below if I do my job right.
Mhm. If you do your job. Yes.
Well, there's been times. But no, really appreciate you being on today. I think that it was a really, really um, good conversation. I also think that you do some valuable stuff for people, and I want to be able to have them get access to your books and all the stuff that you offer. So really
Mhm.
appreciate it. Um, and do you want to say anything else before we go? Just
Just thank you for letting me be on here with you. It was enjoyable. Everybody likes to talk about themselves, but it wasn't like that for me, because the services that I have are to help people, so it's not like I'm promoting myself. I'm promoting how I can help you. And that was always a problem. And I know some entrepreneurs struggle with that. Well, I'm not comfortable promoting myself. Well, then hire somebody to promote you. I'm not plugging in
that's
my
that's
own
actually
self.
really good. I mean, that is a big need, because I
It
think
is,
that
isn't it?
like imposter syndrome, like it comes up all the time, and so people don't even think they're worthy of
Oh,
that.
exactly. But it doesn't take very long to nip that in the bud, just a little bit of truth can go a long way.
Yeah.
If
I
you
totally
have
agree.
that, if somebody is struggling with imposter syndrome, step back and look at all the things that you're skilled at, all the things that you're qualified to do, all the years that you've worked for somebody else doing that thing, whatever that thing is. It's marketable skills that you have that somebody else can use.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or if you're just
That's
a
the
genius,
truth. Ah, well, wouldn't that be nice?
just kidding. But yeah, all right, everybody. We got to end things there. So if you could click the subscribe button and ring the bell so you know when the next video is coming out. And you can leave a comment below and hit the thumbs up thing. And boy, that's a workout. Now you need a break and then, to sit on the couch for a little while because, I just put you through some paces there. But I really appreciate it because it really does help the show. And thank you, Cindy, for being on today. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.